Welcome, my lovely viewer. Thank you for clicking on my video. Today we're gonna go over effective solutions for when we feel that we cannot or we don't belong, right? Now this video is going to be split into two sections. The first section is going to be digging in deeper, right? Digging into this concept of why in the first place do we even have this need to belong, right, somewhere at all. Now that is going to lay the foundation into the second section, which is going to be the effective ways, and it's going to address the problems that we have when we feel that we don't belong, right? Now I'm going to ask for a favor. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's going to help this video and this channel grow tremendously, and I will greatly appreciate it. Now, without any further ado, let's continue to the video, right? Now, the first section, right? This section is going to be, all information and laying the foundation, right? Now, there's this guy. I want to start with this guy, right? This guy is called Abraham Maslow, right? Or Maslow. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but don't butcher me in the comments or something, right? Abraham Maslow was a renowned psychologist in the 1940s, right? 1943, he came out with a journal, right, which was called Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Basically, what that was a hierarchy, right, building blocks, building up to the top of the pyramid, which was self-fulfillment, becoming the best version of yourself, right? He believed, and he, was a renowned psychologist, of course, and with all his studies and works, he saw that, the need for food, shelter, and all of this were involved into that. And if you were missing one of those building blocks, you could not really be your, best self out there. Now, the interesting thing is that the need to belong isn't one of them, right? Is one of the building blocks there, right? So what this means is that if you want to be the best person, the best person out there, you have to fulfill the need to belong no matter what. Otherwise, according to Maslow, you're not going to reach that. Now, let's take a little step back, or maybe even connect with that, right? What do we see this belonging in our world, right? Well, we see it everywhere. The moment you're born, you belong to a family, right? You are now part of a family. You were part of a family, your mom and your dad, right? For the most part, of course. Now, after that, there's the last names, then you get into extended family, then your neighborhood, that's a group. That's a belonging, right? Then you get into your, town, city, your state, your country, your, continent, right? And we see this belonging all around us. We see it in clubs, in sports, in fan bases, right? We see this in churches, all around us. We see this belonging, and we see groups gathered around because they belong together, right? So it is part of our nature, right? Part of our nature is to feel that we belong somewhere, right? Now that's fully established. Now, what I want to go over is, well, what if this need is not fulfilled? What happens? What happens is we have pain. That is what we get. We get pain because we feel that we don't belong, right? We feel sad, depressed, all these negative emotions. It's a form of pain, of mental pain, right? But still pain. Now, let's go into the second section, right? Now, there are several things that could be sabotaging your your journey to fulfill that you belong somewhere, right? The first thing is going to be over attention bias, right? What is attention bias? Well, attention bias is, simply put, the more you pay attention to some of the things in your life, the more you're going to perceive that as your reality. If you perceive things as positive, or you pay attention to the positive things, you're going to perceive your world, and your world now becomes a positive world. But if you pay attention to the negative things in life, your world is now negative, right? That is the power of attention bias. And what happens with, the problem of when we feel that we don't belong, sometimes we just take a look at the wrong things between us and groups, right? We look at the differences of us and them, right? We look at the differences rather than the similarities, right? When we do that, man, oh man, there's some troubles, because now that's your reality. All you see, all you perceive are how different everyone is, right? Now, to fix this, simply just make a list of all the similar things you have with people and groups around you. For example, with your club, maybe you belong to a club, maybe you belong to a family, or, for most of us we do. Just write the similar things, the similar attitudes, the similar ways we talk, the similar smiles, maybe even inside jokes, the similar things, and just keep that list. And when you feel that you're going into this, ramble of differences in your world, where you start to perceive that those differences, just go back to the list. Go back to the list and maybe even write them again, right? With full meaning behind it. Now that's gonna fix that one, right? Now this one of the second thing, or the second thing here that could be sabotaging your your fulfillment of feeling to belong, is going to be that maybe, just maybe, you are just making too many judgments and not really good ones around you, right? So what this means is that if you're making judgments that are not, very constructive, that are actually destructive, well, what's going to happen is that you're making these barriers, right? You're building these barriers so that people, it's just harder for them to connect with you. It's going to be harder for them to connect with you if you just keep on putting these barriers or, bad judgments out there, right? A good way to, kind of fix this is, again, writing it out. Writing it out is going to help you, and it's going to be structured, right? So first you're going to write down your judgment. Could be that this one person just does not make good food and you don't like it, right? Just write it out. Write that down, the judgment, and then put in, okay, so what? And then continue writing. So what? Well, everyone's human. This, for this person, cooking might not be her strength, his or her strength, but that's okay. It's okay if it's not one of her strengths or his strengths, right? Because we're human and we're not perfect, right? Just write that down. Now, the third thing is probably sabotaging your, fulfillment of feeling to belong, is going to be just that you are missing out on opportunities in your life to, you fail to make the opportunities to connect with people, right? Maybe you got into a habit of always saying no to going to certain events, no to going to some clubs like the reading club or something like that. You keep saying no to sports or something like that, similar to that, right? You're sabotaging your opportunities to be able to connect with people, and on top, you're not going to feel like you belong because you're not even attempting to make the connection there, right? So, fix this just by simply saying yes. Say yes to going to the club meeting. Say yes to, try out for this sport, even if it's recreational. Make it fun and connect with people. Say yes to going to a church group or something like that. Say yes to joining a forum, right? Say yes to the opportunities that are going to lead you to connect with amazing people out there, right? Now, the last thing, and it's going to be a reality check, right? Reality check. What is it? Well, reality is that we're all different people, there's, as similar as one person to another can be, they're still different and very unique, right? And you have to accept this. For all those people that, just don't feel like they belong and they're just way too different, maybe the problem is not that you're not saying yes to the opportunities. It's not that you're making too many judgments, and it might not be that you're paying too much to the differences, paying attention too much to the differences there, right? It could be all of that, but on top, you are not loving yourself. You're not accepting your differences, right? And this is going to be one of the fundamental parts you need to incorporate to finally, start to connect with people and feel like you belong. Why? Because everything is going to be from within, right? So how can you, love yourself? It's pretty easy, or pretty easy to say, but sometimes it's pretty hard to implement in your life. So a good way to, imagine or to love yourself is simply imagine that you have an inner child that is your heart, right? You have an inner child that is your heart, and your duty and responsibility is, to take care of this inner child that's your heart, to, you know, make it so that it's in a loving environment. Make it so that it develops in this functional, triumphant, and successful member of society. Make it so that your duties are and responsibilities are to make this inner child that's your heart be the best that it can be, right? Best thing. If there's a negative comment and your inner child that's your heart just gets hurt by it, comfort yourself. You have that duty. And then, analyze it. Was it true? Was it not? Okay, so what if it's true? Are we going to cry over it? Are we going to make sure that the inner child of us does not feel this, does not feel this negative emotion towards it, but rather builds on from it and constructs itself so it becomes a better person, a better, member of society. With that, I leave you. Thank you for watching my video, my lovely viewer, and please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly going to help me, and I'm going to greatly appreciate that. Thank you.